So have you recovered yet after that incredible week yet, Kim?
Getting there. It was a fun week. Lots happened. New locations, new people, and lots of music.
Pretty
fun in
amazing
between.
week.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we thought we'd just sit down and relive some of the memories from the past week and talk about the Emerald Guitars music tour and what it's all about and the things that we experienced. And so this is our third now.
Third music tour.
I think as we went along, it's kind of become more comfortable and we know what we're doing, but another absolutely incredible week with so many amazing memories and made new friends and saw some new sights.
Yeah, it was a fun, I think I enjoyed this tour the most because I think we both knew what to expect from the locations and the musicians we had in place. I think because it was our third, we were confident that we could pull another fantastic tour off. So yeah, definitely, I think I relaxed more in this tour.
Yeah, but like I think whenever we started to talk about this, we engineered this whole idea as being an experience where we're taking our friends on a trip around Donegal to all our favourite spots. So in some ways, like really we've made this as a trip for us.
Yeah.
And you know, so it's been really, really enjoyable to run it. We went to all our favourite places, ate in our favourite restaurants. We had our favourite musicians there creating this amazing musical backdrop along the way. And so what wasn't to love?
Well, I think initially with the music tours, when we talked about starting them, it was about taking friends to visit our favourite spots and creating the soundtrack for each location that we felt was the right style of music to play in each location. And
what an incredible way to present our county.
Yeah, and again, you know, talking about our county, like we're both from Donegal. Our business is a Donegal business. So I think for us, being able to bring so many guests from all over the world to Donegal to, you know, give back to local businesses, to give back to local musicians, is part of our way of giving back to our local community. You know, that a lot of our employees are from. So it's just a nice way to celebrate where we're from and just give back to those businesses.
And highlight just how amazing Donegal is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I suppose we can kind of go through the different days and relive some of the memories. So Sunday is always that's pick-up day.
That's pick-up day, yeah.
So I went down on the bus and met everybody at Dublin Airport and then at the Clayton Hotel.
Yeah.
And that's always that's the nerve-wracking part because you don't know what the group's going to be like, and it's interesting. Like every group's just slightly different.
Yeah.
You know, slightly different dynamic. No
we
group
did
has
have
been
guests.
better than another, but always a different dynamic a little bit.
Yeah. Well, we did have 8 guests return from last year's May and September tour to join us. So I think I had confidence that we were doing something right whenever we had 2 groups of people come back.
Yeah.
So soon after being on the tours last year that they enjoyed it, that they came back and joined us for our May tour this year.
And I think maybe that's what changed some of the dynamic in the group as well, because you've got people there that knew what to expect.
Yeah.
And maybe showed people how to get the most out of the trip.
Yeah.
Right from the get-go. But yeah, I mean the atmosphere was great. Everybody arrived on time. Nobody got lost in the airport. Nobody got held up, so like literally it was straight on the bus, straight up the road to Donegal, and with a quick stop halfway up. And then we pull up in there in the bus up to the front of Rockhill House, and I think everybody is wowed. You know, you come up in that avenue under the trees, and you pull up at the front of this beautiful manor house, and think, well, this is my home for the week.
Yeah, and the great thing with Rockhill House being our location where we stay for the week is John and Catherine, who own and run Rockhill House, have allowed us basically to make that feel like it's our home.
Yeah.
You know, we take over every room. There's music. The house is filled with music from the moment the guests arrive, because part of the music tour is allowing the guests to borrow a guitar for the week that maybe they haven't tried out, or something that they're maybe interested in buying. It gives them that week of playing this instrument, and they get those assigned to them as soon as they come in the door, and straight away the guitars are pulled out of the cases.
And it was so, like, I remember that first night we had our beautiful dinner, the big welcome dinner, and then everybody was straight upstairs into the piano room. And I remember walking in, and you're just hit with a wall of music going on. I think there was probably maybe 15 or so guitars out there, everybody jamming away, everybody kind of getting to know each other through music.
Yeah.
And really, like, the music's the common thread that holds all these people together. So yeah, there was a lot of music being played.
Yeah, because even I think with music, I think some people can feel awkward introducing themselves to somebody through conversation, but they'll just pick up the guitar and just join in playing, and then people ask about the songs they're playing or some of their styles of playing. So it's a great way to start a conversation. But it was lovely on the Sunday night when you come up and just you see the room full of musicians. And not everybody was musicians. There was guests on this tour that weren't musicians and just came to enjoy the music and to see Ireland, where they didn't have to worry about anything. We had everything from the moment they're picked up. You know, we plan out their meals. And again, we're taking our guests to our favourite restaurants that we enjoyed eating. So the food was good, the locations were good, the music was excellent, and so that's why I think kind of people are jumping on board now, where they're not musicians, they just want to experience Ireland, music, good food, good locations, and I'm proud that we can give them that experience.
Absolutely. So that was Sunday night, and that went on into the early hours of Monday morning. I think we went to bed, we could still hear the music going.
Yeah.
But Monday, so let's just sort of cycle through the different days. So Monday was a great day, and that's the one I'm most nervous about, because we have a lot of guitar players obviously are really excited to come and see the Emerald Guitars factory. But then you also have the partners that have come along and maybe aren't guitar players, and we don't want them to be bored on a factory day. And actually, it was nearly the opposite. It was.
I think they really
enjoyed
seeing the processes of the guitars being made, and then they also enjoyed.
I think it is interesting to everybody. Everybody kind of can connect with a musical instrument.
Yeah.
And our process is that a little bit different. And then so I brought everybody in, told them the story. We did the unveiling of the Steve Vai Ultra guitar
that just came back to the factory.
Yeah. So that was kind of cool. So they were the first people to get to see that. We always give the tour guests that little bit of something extra.
Yeah.
And did the factory tours. As always, you know, you plan out to do it in an hour, and it takes an hour and a half. But so just a nice, relaxed walk around the factory, giving them some deep insight, some maybe extra. I do those myself, so it kind of gives them, you know, a bit of an extra insight into what we do. And
but then you have
the secrets.
Because we split the tour because of the numbers of guests. You have then the other half of the guests being able to enjoy the player suite, where they get to try out all our range of guitars. And then because we have our guest apartment and house beside the factory, anybody that needed just some headspace or wanted to kind of chill out for a bit, we had refreshments and
nice relaxed space.
Yeah, so it kind of had something for everybody on the Monday.
So I really enjoyed doing that, and then the extra special little toast that we do in my office at the very end.
The secret cupboard.
The little, and don't talk about that. Can't talk about the secret.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was always nice. And then always it's a highlight to do the concert in the cottage, and such a wonderful trio that we had doing beautiful traditional Irish music. And then we went back to Rock Hill House. We had that was our traditional Irish night of music and food. And the food's so good this year. It was just start to finish, really, really good quality.
Well, I think because a lot of our guests are coming from all over the world, and a lot of our guests, it's kind of their first, or the majority of our guests has been their first experience in Ireland. I kind of worked with the chefs in Rock Hill House to come up with traditional meals kind of that we would have here in Ireland.
Yeah.
So kind of share those flavours with our guests. So it was fantastic, and we did it a buffet style so everybody could try a bit of everything.
Yeah.
Which was really good.
That went down really well. And then afterwards we had Mark Black and Johnny Gallagher. They rocked it out.
That was a fun night.
And it's a tough night as well because people are coming in and, you know, maybe the jet lag kicks in an hour or a day later and they're feeling a little bit tired. So like it started off with nearly every guest there listening to the music and slowly, you know, and it was like that. It was a nice relaxed atmosphere. People could disappear off when they were tired and go back to their room in Rock Hill. So then Tuesday was, that was a great day.
That started off with the falconry
in the morning.
Yeah.
And we've done that now on the previous 2 occasions. And
it's been a real treat for people.
It's always a big hit.
Just
that interaction with the birds, and it kind of sets the tone, I think, for the day because that's the day we're going to Glen Gesh Castle. So you know you're doing falconry in the walled garden, and then very shortly after that you find yourself in Glen Gesh Castle.
At the cabin cross each Sunday morning, where she can be found. She seems to have the eye of every boy in Cavan Town. If my luck will hold, I'll have the golden summer of her smile, and to break the hearts of cabin men, she'll talk to me a while.
So we do 2 different ways. When you arrive at Glen Gesh, I took the walking group up along the river or along the lake, and I always like doing that. And then you went on for anybody that wants a more relaxed option.
I took the shuttle bus up because not everybody wants to walk, and again it allows me to get ahead of you just to make sure lunch is kind of getting prepared and just kind of making sure everybody's where they need to be. Yeah. And again, our team were fantastic. They always seem to get ahead of us.
Always ready.
And have the musicians. So it's a well-oiled machine at this stage. I think, you know, just so proud of our team as well, how they're able to just coordinate the musicians at the right time. So when we arrive, the music's already playing.
It is about timing. And so that's the part I love. So whenever we would walk up along the lake, and it's about probably a 35-minute walk, on a beautiful day, it was just absolutely stunning. And you come in through the gates at the bottom of the gardens.
Yeah.
And as we were coming up in there, you hear the music off in the distance, and everybody is, you know, their ears are tuning in to the music. So we're walking up in there, and the first thing we hear is Jordan O'Keefe playing there in the gardens, and it's a real kind of a sense of drama to it, just as you're, you know, walking in.
It's like a welcome into the castle, yeah.
And I think that's what we wanted at the castle. There's 3 or 4 different performances happening around the gardens, and it's like find the music, hear it, go and look for it. And
well, it allows the guests to explore the grounds of the castle rather than keeping them static. And I think, you know, listening to Tanya McCole, you know, rock out her songs down by the lake, and with the castle in the background was just fantastic.
A lot of backdrop.
If you gotta do right all day, woman, you gotta be a do right all day man. You gotta be a do right all night man.
And I think another highlight of that day was whenever we pulled out the amicus in the bus on the way down to the visitor centre again.
Well, prior to that, one of my highlights was Johnny was along as a guest, and Johnny pulled out the amicus in the courtyard. So that
The
was
coffee shop,
that was the
that's right,
instrument I
yeah.
carried up there with, and I'm glad I did because Johnny wasn't there really to perform, but he just played.
Yeah, well, he
some-
decided to stay because he was
Yeah,
having
so
so
he-
much fun on the Monday night. He wanted
he
to be
be-
part
he
of
became a
the
guest.
tour. So,
Yeah, and so then there was the music happening in the courtyard.
Well, that's all right, now, mama. That's all right, you. That's all right now, mama. Well, and on with you. That's all right. That's all right. Oh, that's all right now, mama. Anyway, that's true.
so yeah, the bus trip from the castle to the visitor centre, Albin had seen the small case and had asked, was it a baby emerald? And I was like, it's our amicus. And he had never seen it. So I pulled it out and it was a 12 string. And he was like, I only play 6 string. Now, I'm not a guitarist, even though we make guitars.
You're showing him how to play.
And
it.
I was like, well, I'm almost certain a 12 string is just you hit the same strings, but there's 2 strings under the same finger as you're hitting
You
them.
nailed it.
So it was a kind of wild card for me, but it worked. So he kind of strummed a few chords and oh, it was brilliant. He just fell in love with it. And as I said to him, I said, I love handing out our emeralds because it's like handing candy to kids.
Yeah.
Once you've tried it, you want one.
And then he instantly just, the whole bus just broke into.
To song.
into
Even the
song.
bus driver was singing.
Yeah.
I'll think of you, and every song I sing, I'll sing for you. When I come back, I'll wear your wedding ring. Woo! So kiss me and smile for me. Tell me that you'll wait for me and hold me like you'll never let me go.
Like we can organise so many aspects of the tour, but it's those little things that just happen spontaneously. I think that's kind of what makes it extra special.
Yeah, it's just that natural progression that
Yeah.
happens where musicians just flow with their music and
Yeah.
everybody joins in.
So like if that was the end of the day right there, that would have been enough. But so from there was a lot more still to go. So we went literally just round the corner a few miles to the Poison Glen,
Yeah.
to the little church ruins there at the foot of Errigal Mountain. And like that's a spot we've stopped off at many
With the
times.
kids for photo shoots
Yeah.
and the kids have played in the grounds and
like we've seen music videos being filmed in there, and it's an iconic spot. So
yeah.
the idea of bringing music there was really cool. So we had that performance right there in the middle. Everybody standing around. Everybody started
There was
dancing.
a few dancing, yeah. It's
Yeah.
cool.
And just a dramatic location.
Yeah,
Just
it was
right there
beautiful.
on the edge of the lake on Dunlewy. Pretty
It's
cool.
great. And then going on round then to Crawley Distillery.
Crawley Distillery.
Again,
yeah.
the scenery is just beautiful down along there, along the lakeside, the foot of Errigal.
Yeah, so the journey's as beautiful as the destination. Yeah, so the journey's as beautiful as the destination, and then we get round then to Crawley Distillery. And I think what was cool to go to Crawley Distillery, anybody that knows the history of Emerald Guitars will know that our factory previously was a toy factory that my dad had run, Kestrel
Your
Toys.
parents, yeah.
And Crawley Distillery is in the home of a toy factory, which was
The only other toy factory in Ireland.
so the Crawley doll factory.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a cool connection between the two. But a nice little whiskey tour there, the guided tour of the distillery, and then the whiskey tasting.
Yeah.
And then even our tour guide is a musician.
That's right.
So he
Pulled out the guitar?
He pulled out the guitar and played us a tune at the end. So
Yeah.
there's always music,
Yeah.
as well as a few guests that had a jam there.
Yeah, with a few of our guests, Bill White played us a song. I really enjoyed Bill's song
Yeah,
in
it was-
Crawley. It was a good song.
So then from there, to the home of Donegal whiskey, to the home of Irish music in many ways.
Yeah.
We went to Leo's Tavern for dinner that night, and so Leo's Tavern, for anybody that doesn't know, is it's the home of Clannad, Moya Brennan, and Enya.
Yeah.
From the Brennan family, and I mean, really, it's a place that's so steeped in musical history.
Yeah.
And we had one of the family stood up and give us a little history.
Brother?
Yeah, give us a little history lesson about
just the family and how they took possession of the bar.
Yeah,
how it became just a musical hub.
Yeah.
Where local people gathered just to hear music, and that's where their family practiced music as kids, and so that is where it all stemmed from, in that area.
Yeah, so it was great to be able to bring our guests there and experience that, and you know, it's a place you just sort of sense the musical history there, and then we had some really great performances.
Without Willow and
yeah, so it was just nice to just bring that place to life with music.
Yeah.
Bring our music there and present it to them.
Yeah.
So that was a wonderful day, and I think everybody went home tired that night. I don't know that there was much jamming done that night, but
there was some music because we could hear it.
A few of the hardcore ones went straight upstairs or straight downstairs and played a few tunes. But yeah, it was a long but very, very rewarding day.
There was a lot packed on that day, but it was a good day.
Full of memories.
Yeah. And then I think Wednesday morning started at about 6:45 when we heard somebody downstairs playing guitar and somebody else playing drums.
That's it, straight away, 7 a.m.
I think maybe security or not security, they had stopped them because they thought it was a bit early to start.
A bit too early.
For an hour, but then breakfast was started with harp playing.
Well, yes, so that's the other thing we should mention, is every morning, and nearly every meal is accompanied by music. Because every morning we had harp playing, 2 mornings, we had a singer on one of the mornings, we had
fiddle
and guitar, you know, so just a nice selection of different music to set a backdrop, and that really lifts breakfast. When you walk in there,
breakfast was fantastic.
to the beautiful breakfast room, and you've got harp playing.
You're kind of lured downstairs by the nice music that's playing for breakfast.
You come down that big spiral staircase, and you're hit with the music.
Yeah, and breakfast was fantastic. Kind of got everybody ready for the day, and
always a very social time. Just everybody sitting around and mingling between the tables, having conversations. So and the breakfasts were so good.
So Wednesday was the day we went off to Azaranka Waterfall.
Yeah. So we went to Azaranka Waterfall, stopped there for a very quick stop just for some photographs. It's just such a beautiful place. Not as dramatic as it can be sometimes because we've had such dry weather over the last while. So there wasn't a lot of water there, but still
I think people sacrificed the water as having the sunshine that we had during this week's tour.
Now then was like a real highlight because we went from there up Glen Gesh Pass, that beautiful valley, and when we went there on reconnaissance, we almost got blown away. You know, when we went and sort of planned this that day out, and not blown away because of the scenery. Blown
away with the wind coming up the valley.
Blown away with the wind, and we thought this would be a great place to have a concert.
Well, you thought, and I looked at you thinking you're nuts.
Thought it was crazy. So for most people it is crazy, but it's one of those things that just might work.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how we've lived our lives and lived the music tour, doing the things that just might work. But we got the perfect day for it, perfect weather, just a light breeze, and we're coming up the corkscrew bends up to the top of Glen Gesh Pass, pulling in the bus, and what's there but Honor.
So feels to me the parting glass. Good night and joy be with you all. Of all the comrades that e'er I've known, they were sorry for my going away, and of all sweethearts that e'er I've known, they would wish me one more day to stay. But since it fell onto my lot that I should rise and you should not, I gently rise, softly call Good night and joy be with you all.
A man may drink and may not be drunk. A man may fight and not be slain. A man may court all the pretty girls and alas be welcome back again. But since it fell unto my Lord that I should rise and you should not, I'll gently rise and I'll softly call. Good night and joy be with you all.
So fair to me the parting glass, drink a health whatever befalls. So I'll gently rise and softly call. Good night and joy be with you all. Good night and joy be with you all.
Absolutely incredible. Such a wonderful band, an incredible
We were
backdrop.
missing Tom. Poor Tom had a
poor
sore
Tom was
throat.
sick.
But the guys did a fantastic job, and I think not only were our guests blown away, but visitors that were passing, I think we had blocked the whole road
Yeah.
at one stage.
And you have, you people just turn up and think, well, is this just what happens in Ireland every day?
Yeah.
And you'd love to think it does, but no, we make it extra special for our guests.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was, what a memory to be there. And one of the things I love there, now right the way along, we were lucky enough to have a wonderful artist that came on the trip. And everywhere we went, he would sit down
Dana?
and he would draw a little painting of the
performances that were happening, or what he kind of saw.
And,
So I think he did the paintings rather than taking pictures. His
yeah,
way
it was just such a
painting
beautiful
what he
way to
saw,
capture
yeah.
it. So I remember sitting there watching the performance and watching him. He was just
Watching
sitting
his
off-
paint come to
yeah.
life. Yeah.
He was sitting off to my side, and so that was, and that's just been a beautiful theme right through the whole week.
Yeah. I think we got
Just
some
a-
pictures of Dana with his paintings and an oar at
yeah,
the end.
yeah, we
Yeah.
did. So from there, a quick dash then on round the corner to the Rusty Mackerel
For lunch, which was fantastic.
for lunch. And that was cool because we had the opportunity there to give them some extra special pints of Guinness.
We did. I think none of our guests have ever received a pint of Guinness like they did in the Rusty Mackerel. And we'll not say what it was. We'll let the video show what it was.
Yeah. So how do you make a pint of Guinness better? Well,
You just add our little touch to it.
our extra special touch.
And the guests said
So
they
that
all
was- that
tasted
was
like
cool.
their favourite pints, they're the best pints of Guinness they'd ever
Yeah.
had. So.
And the Rusty Mackerel is such an iconic place as well. It's it's a very famous restaurant, and we're lucky enough to be able to go there for lunch and a quick stop to refuel, and then
yeah.
up the cliffs to Slieve.
Slieve?
Slieve.
Schleef. You have to say it with a lisp.
You got to say that right.
Yeah.
And it's like the highest sea cliffs in Ireland.
I think in Europe.
One of the highest in Europe.
Yeah.
Many people come to Ireland and they go and visit the cliffs of Moher, but I always say that our Donegal cliffs are better and they're bigger and I think more dramatic.
Yeah.
But it's one thing to see them, but then to have a musical performance happen on the edge of the cliff.
Yeah.
I would leave and then just start over again. But I've never seen nothing like I see in those eyes. I've let a million other faces walk on by. I'm delivering some moments from myself. Maybe I'm not perfect, but I'm not finished yet. 'Cause I have loved and I've learned my share of lessons, but I could move on like nothing ever happened so easily. But I don't wanna let go of this. I don't wanna let go of this. No, no. If I'm remembered for the trouble that I've caused, I won't forget all of the things that I've lost, and all those notions that would tell me I was wrong. I haven't heard a thing out of them in so long. You say you want to leave and you can't change your mind. You've seen the ending of this one too many times. Now I'm delivering some moments from myself. Maybe I'm not perfect, but I'm not finished yet. 'Cause I have loved and I've learned my share of lessons, but I could move on like nothing ever happened so easily, that I don't wanna let go of this.
Yeah, so John, he was performing there at the side of the cliffs, and yeah, it's just something about, you know, such a dramatic backdrop, and then you're creating that live musical soundtrack to go with it.
And again, not only our guests enjoyed it, everybody was up visiting the cliffs that day. We're like, does this normally happen up here? And we're like, no, we've just brought the music with us.
And I think some people followed us from Glen Gesh to...
Yeah, they did. Actually, there was another tour bus on tour, and then they asked could they swap to our tour because they were having so much fun. They'd stopped at a few of our locations.
There was a bit of tour envy.
And yeah, they definitely was some tour envy. They were from Australia here for 10 days, and they were like
they were blown
regretting
away.
they hadn't heard about the Emerald Tour.
Yeah, so then from Sleeve League, it was just the most wonderful weather. Everybody was sitting out in the heather and on the cliffside and relaxing. And then we went from there to Biddy's Abarnas, another really iconic place.
Yeah, it's one of our favourites to stop into.
Wonderful bar, wonderful restaurant, home of, you know, great music, great food, great Irish culture.
Yeah.
And so we had a wonderful band there, a wonderful traditional Irish band who played wonderful music, so good. And then towards the end, then various musicians then
The guests joined in.
The guests joined in. Muriel Anderson played a tune along with them, and then a few people had little jam sessions.
I think that's what the guests are loving, is because there are opportunities there as well to play at the different venues. You know, we've encouraged them to bring the guitars with them on some of the days that we were going out, where we knew there would be opportunities for them to, if they wanted to perform as well in one of the Irish pubs. So we definitely, and we loved watching them. And so did the other guests that were in the bar. They enjoyed listening to something different.
No, absolutely. So that was a really great evening. The food was amazing. The fish and chips there, so good. That's their speciality. So yeah, good food, good music, and they're in that dramatic location up in the middle of that big valley. So so that was a great way to finish off that day.
And then it was back for music, and the music played into the wee hours that night.
Yeah, there was another jam session when we got home, you know, and we're getting back a little bit later, but everybody was still, a lot of people were still ready to play.
Yeah. And that is the nice thing, is having that opportunity to, you know, play with other people.
Yeah.
Because some people are solo players and we're kind of shy to play with other people, and then as the week went on, you just saw their confidence growing, and they were all getting tips from each other about how they loop and how they do their sound and equipment they use, and I think I love watching that. I love watching the friendships form, and I love watching them just sharing their experiences and tips with each other, and I think they enjoyed that too.
Yeah, absolutely. So then Thursday, I remember some of the guests saying it can't get any better than this.
Yeah.
I said, just wait and see.
Yeah.
And we're just warning them of that something special was to come without telling them what was going to come.
Yeah.
So we went to Dunree Fort, and another really dramatic place. And on last year's tour, we went to Port Salon, which is in the opposite side of the bay.
Yeah.
So for some of the people that had been there previously, it was an opportunity to kind of see it from a different perspective with
Yeah.
that beautiful inlet.
We did change all the
Lost Willy.
locations on this tour because we knew there was guests coming that had been there previously, so we wanted to show them some of our other favourite
Yeah.
places.
Yeah, so it was a different itinerary this time.
Yeah.
But so we went down along Lost Willy, and I give them a little bit of a history lesson on the bus as well. Told them about as we passed that little marina, how it was a boat that sank in that marina that led first of all to my father starting to work with fiberglass. So that was a cool story.
Yeah.
And yeah, you might have to come on the trip if you want to hear the full part of that story. But we went down along there, looking out on Lost Willy, and which has a connection to that incredible hymn, Amazing Grace. And I think there were some guests that broke into song and were
The way
singing
past,
Amazing Grace
yeah.
as we were going down there. And then around the coast to Dunree Fort, and just another really dramatic location sitting on the edge of Lost Willy. And then we had Matthew Crampsey.
They're playing
performing
for
there.
us, yeah, which is fantastic
And,
as well. And it's beautiful because the guests, kind of each location we went to, there was a set time that we were leaving.
Yeah.
So if the guests again wanted to wander off and explore the scenery and the location, they could, or go grab a coffee in the coffee shops. And I think that's a nice thing, is giving them the freedom to explore a bit themselves. You know,
Yeah.
enjoy some of the music and then go off, like the same Slave League. They were able to go up and climb
Yeah,
up
so
to the
it's-
top. So
So it's not just a guided tour where you're just
being
taking
raced
a
from one place to
procession.
the
It's,
other.
yeah, you have that time to
You
explore.
do have the time to explore, which I think they enjoyed.
I have a friend who would oftentimes call me. Hours we spend on the phone, and amidst all the laughter and talking, I can tell that he's missing home, and he's gone. I sometimes wish I was gone. But what good would I be in Boston, in Sydney, Dubai or Spain? I'd be dead in a week, killed from the heat. Sure, I'm Irish and I need the rain. I've dreamt of leaving here often, and every time I remain. For deep down I know, wherever I go, I'll wish I was home again. What am I to do? Where am I to go? There's a world out there that I'll never know. What am I to do? Where am I to go? For what good would I be in Boston, Sydney, Dubai or Spain? I'd be dead in a week, killed from the heat. Sure, I'm Irish and I need the rain. I've dreamt of leaving here often, and every time I've remained. For deep down I know, wherever I go, I'll wish I was home again.
Yeah, so from there, up over Memore Gap, one of our favourite spots, and looking down the other side, and that was definitely, it's about the journey, you know, just that dramatic trip
Drive
up
up
over
over,
that
yeah.
that gap. I think a lot of the guests like shocked at the narrow the roads were, just the width of the bus that we were taking them up. And then down the other side, telling them the story about how it was on that headland just in front that I proposed to you all them years ago.
Many years ago was that, babe?
29 years.
29 years ago. And I said, of all places to pick to propose on a cliff edge, I was like, if I say no, he might jump. Or if I say no, he might push me. So it's like, I better say yes.
No pressure. But yeah, it's a spot that's very important to us. You know, it's a place that we loved so much back then. So great to be able to take our guests there and share it with them. And just the drama as you're coming down that other side and down the hairpin bends, down in the bottom of the valley. Again, it's just really special. And then the reason we go that route is because we wanted to take them to Nancy's Barn. And like that's really one of our favourite spots.
Yeah, we love Nancy's Barn, and then just, you know, being able to give Kieran the business as well and bringing the tour by him. And yeah, it was fantastic. Lunch was, everybody raved about lunch that day.
Well, I have to. It is like the world chowder champion.
Absolutely.
Like they've they hold the accolade of winning the world chowder championships a number of years ago.
Yeah.
And to me, it's the best seafood chowder.
And
I love seafood chowder.
Yeah, it was lovely when Kieran came out then and everybody applauded him when I introduced who he was, because lunch was fantastic. And then again, we broke into song.
Yeah,
a few of
the
guests
musicians started to play. He loved that. He said it was one of the best days he's ever had in Nancy's Barn.
Yeah, where a few of the guests had pulled out guitars and started singing, and then somebody else joined in, and it was great.
It's always just music. It just erupts, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Just give it a second.
Yeah.
So yeah, we all got, and he got a picture with us all out the front, which is really nice. And then we headed off then to Green and Fort.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was a highlight to finish. I think I'm glad we did it that way around.
Yeah, I think it
we
was.
had talked
and
about
especially
whether we
with
were
the
going
day.
to start the day or end the day there, and yeah, I think you said end it there, and that was
Because
definitely
the sun was
right.
starting to get lower, and
Yeah.
it was just, and again, we couldn't have picked the weather better than it happened this week.
Yeah.
The sun shined all week long, and I think all the visitors at Angrain and Fort, again, were blown away by the music. I mean, as we were just coming through the tunnel into Angrain, and there was bubbles, which I thought maybe you'd organised in advance. I was like, this is so magical with the music, with the...
Yeah, and like, again, our guys were there, you know, just ahead of us and had the music set up. And we're all walking up, so I, you know, kind of held everybody back so we'd all go in there together and get that first impact together. Yeah, so we went up in, and you walk in through that narrow passage as you walk into the ring fort, and you just hit with the music. Such a wonderful
With the harp and the fiddles
band,
and the warons, and it was just brilliant.
Yeah, and everybody then, you know, sits around the edge or goes up onto the walls and sits around the walls. So it's like this beautiful natural amphitheatre. And when you're down inside, the sound was so good. And I have to commend Dan all week. The sound quality,
The sound has been fantastic.
was really, really so good. So well mixed. But yeah, just.
And I loved watching the
what a
kids. I
memory.
think Andrea's girls came along and they were doing somersaults and twirling around to the music, and it was
such
lovely.
a good atmosphere. Everybody just having a good time, enjoying the good weather, and great memory.
Yeah.
And that was then back on the bus, and then it's not over there. It's like you go back. You've got a couple of hours to get ready, get
For a
dressed
grand
up
finale,
for the grand finale or
gala dinner.
gala dinner.
And it was lovely because I think we put on the information that was sent out to guests once they'd booked is to kind of a gala dinner, so kind of dress to impress. But there was no pressure there, but everybody made an effort. I think Wynn came in his kilt this time, which we loved.
Yeah, he definitely, he got best in show.
He got best of show.
He was
And then I
best
was
dressed.
nervous when he was doing the broom dancing. I was like, Wynn, don't lift your legs too long or too high if you're a true Scotsman.
We
had a good laugh.
So it like an absolutely 5-star dinner.
Yeah, it
the
was
quality of the
excellent.
food was just
Yeah.
amazing from the chefs in Rock Hill House.
Yeah.
And just everybody mingling, connecting with each other. We
Getting
had
photographs. There's a champagne reception.
More music in the background.
And canopies before dinner. And
Champagne before dinner.
yeah.
We did it proper.
Well, I think that's what everybody said. They were going home with their heart full of music, their tummy full of the best food, and memories that they would never forget.
Yeah.
And I think those are the 3 boxes that I wanted to tick, that everybody felt included, enjoyed, mingled well. And that was one of the things we were very good at. If we saw somebody kind of hanging around the edges, a bit nervous to mingle, was pulling them into the group, introducing them to a few people we thought they would have stuff in common with. And then the good food, the good music, and just the laugh. I think,
it was a night where everybody was just sharing the memories of the week, and then I think solidifying those bonds, making plans for where they're going to meet up next.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many people that in the previous tours have met up. There's little reunion groups happening across in the USA.
Yeah, we love seeing all the photographs.
And people planning to connect again, which is great.
And
then we had the Irish dancers.
With the Irish dancers come in and dance for us this year. You didn't get up and dance? You didn't volunteer this year?
I think I did enough last year, so it was let some others shine this year.
Yeah, so it was Wynne and Muriel Anderson,
That's
I think, did the bit of dancing for us.
And it was great to have Muriel along on the whole trip. Muriel was there, I guess, as a guest of ours.
Yeah.
She wasn't really there to perform, although she certainly did.
I think she couldn't help herself.
Oh,
it was hard to resist.
She just loves to play, and so our guests were delighted to hear Muriel perform and have the conversations with her and get to know her. But yeah, it was great to have her there and share some of her stories about traveling around the world playing music. But yeah, so it was just a really great night, and then everybody went upstairs for that final jam, and there was 3 or 4 different jam sessions.
There's 4 different rooms
in the
because of the layout of Rockhill House. You have the piano room, and then there's another lounge off that, and there's another lounge. There's I think 4 lounges off it.
Yeah.
So there's space for people to spread out and just kind of, there's different styles of music being played, and I think we just wandered between the rooms. It was like, where do we go next to listen to something different?
Yeah, and that was a great night that went on into the very early hours of the morning.
I don't remember. I was afraid to look at the clock of what time we went to bed.
And some of our guests had to leave
at 5.
We're getting an early flight home, so they had left a little bit early. Most people stayed on to Friday lunchtime. But yeah, it was definitely sad saying goodbye to people, but knowing that we'd made friends that we're going to see again.
Yeah. I think there was guests talking about coming back in September already again, and that's, I think, you've done a job well, is when people want to return.
Definitely.
So, and again, it's not just us, we have an amazing team behind us, helping these tours, the guys, and the musicians.
The guys did an amazing job right throughout the week, filming it, setting it up, just, coordinating everything. And, we couldn't do it without them.
Yeah.
And the best part of it was that they're part of the overall tour as well, and making friends with the guests. They're not just there at arm's length, they're actually there and part of it.
Yeah,
so
I think I do have a photograph of Dan holding hands with one of the guests in the early hours of the morning, where we just thought it was hilarious that they were, and even when we pointed out they were holding hands, they were still holding hands. We'll have to add that picture in.
Blood brothers forever.
Blood brothers forever.
Yeah.
But it was just lovely again to see those friendships.
It was a fun moment.
Yeah, be formed.
Yeah. So many great memories. And we're doing it all again in September.
We are.
And we still have some places left. So for anybody that's interested, how do they book? How do they get in touch with you if they've got any questions?
Well, so anybody that's wanting to book onto our September tour, if you go onto the Emerald Guitars website, it's in Visit Us. So if there should be a tab, box or square on the website when you open it. But if you can't see that, go up to the little link down and there is a Visit Us, and then there's Emerald Tours, there's the factory tours and then the music tours. So if you click on that, you will see the link then, or the book here, and you just go in and click that, fill out your information, and it should allow you to pay your deposit.
Yeah.
So your deposit will secure your place in the tour, and then 6 weeks before you arrive, the final payment has to be made. But then they have access to my email through that as well.
There's a little form where you can fill out if you have any questions.
And then I can get back to them with any questions they have. So, one of the things, we do facilitate if somebody had mobility issues. We've had guests with dietary requirements.
Yeah,
and all those things.
You really look after those details. Really
Yeah,
well.
so it's making sure that, you know, everybody's catered for and accommodated on the tour. So it's important kind of to fill out that information box and give me as many details as possible so I can facilitate someone's needs.
And I think, like, one of the things that we heard quite often is from spouses that were maybe a little bit reluctant about it and weren't sure what to expect. But this was very much a couples tour. There's a lot of people solo travel and a lot of couples, and certainly in the couples where one side is a guitar player and the other side isn't.
Yeah.
I think the both people really enjoyed it.
Yeah, well, I think from talking
and a few
to...
left thinking it's time for them to learn guitar.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we've had that in a few of the tours where the spouse then wanted to learn guitar. Some of the spouses sang as well, so they kind of were couples that played together and performed together, you know, which was great. And it wasn't just couples. We had father and daughters, father and son. It was like a bonding trip that they came on, that they both played guitar and came on the trip.
Yeah.
So it was definitely a way for people to spend time together and just enjoy music that they love.
Definitely. It's a very, very special thing.
Yeah.
Definitely if you're thinking about it, come along, and hopefully this has given you a little bit of insight. Just, you know, as we sit down and have this conversation, it just reminds us about how many great memories we've been able to create, and there's no way to really shorten this out. So, but yeah, I'm sure if you've watched this through, this probably give you a really good feeling for what the tour is all about. And but if you've got any questions, certainly get in touch with Kim. She's more than happy to help you out with any questions you might have or concerns about what might happen in the tour. And we'd love to have you come and join us. This is going to be our fourth in September.
Yeah.
And no doubt we'll do it again next year too.
We might.
I think we will.
I think we will.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Hopefully we'll see you here in Donegal very soon.
Yeah.
If my true love, she were gone, I would surely find another to pluck wild mountain thyme all around the blooming heather. Will he go, lassie? Oh pure crystal fountain, and around her I would say, with all the flowers of the mountain, will he go, lassie? Oh, yes, we'll all together to blow wild mountain thyme all around the blue. Will he go, lassie? Oh, yes, we'll all together to the wild mountain thyme all around the blue heather. Will he go, lassie? Oh, will he go, lassie? Thank you all very much. Thank you.